Hi guys, this is the Gift of the Gab. I am here today with Mark, who is in a Radical Fairies group, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about it.
Hi, Precious. Great to be
Yeah.
here. A little bit more about the Radical Fairies. Well, what can I say? We are a bunch of queers of all genders and sexualities. We're spread around the world. We are people who are seeking to make that reconnection between the sexuality and the spirit, a connection between queerness and nature, and very much people who see queerness as a doorway to community.
Yeah.
A communion with each other, with nature, with the spirit of creation.
Yeah.
And very much with each other, celebrating, communing, and creating ceremony together, creating heart space where we can tell our life stories.
Yeah.
We can heal from the things that have happened to us. We can grow and open our fairy wings.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like amazing. So how did you come into the space? How did you find your fairy wings?
I first found a bunch called the Queer Pagans at something called the Queer Pagan Camp in Dorset in the late 1990s.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It was through them that I heard about the Radical Fairies. What they have in common there is that it's about connecting through nature.
Yeah.
It's about meeting in nature and stepping outside the norms of conventional society to create our own queer magical realities.
So did you feel before you found them that you didn't fit in the norms or...
So I've had quite a journey through gay life, really.
Yeah.
I came out at 21 in my last year at university. I was studying history at Cambridge. And then as soon as I came out, I wanted to get to London and find the real life.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So I did. I had a few years there as, I call it my caterpillar years.
Okay.
And it came out of the gay egg and went out into the gay scene. Oh, this is so great. Munch, 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 eat. And it was the 1980s.
So it must have been
frightening time.
Oh my gosh,
it was a frightening as well as exciting time to be
during
alive.
Margaret Thatcher.
This was during the Margaret Thatcher years.
Yes,
and this was AIDS was creeping across the land.
Yeah.
And even having gay sex was terrifying. Most of us just did it anyway.
Yeah.
We faced the fear and got on with it. And so I knew I was taking risks, and I wasn't particularly surprised at age 25 when I was diagnosed HIV positive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay.
And told I had perhaps 7 years to live.
Wow. And look at you now, here today.
So I just sort of took that on the chin at first and just sort of carried on. I decided if there was one thing I wanted to experience while I was alive, it was real love.
Yeah.
It was deep, passionate love with another person.
I support that.
And it came.
Yeah.
It came to me in the form of a beautiful Frenchman called Pierre. We stayed together for 7 years.
Okay, yeah.
We both got very sick with AIDS.
Okay,
we
yeah.
nursed each other and loved each other through it and kept each other alive.
Oh.
That's what I believe happened. Until new medication came along, which then turned around. But I did spend 2 years hovering at death's door.
Yeah.
Taking a good look through the veils.
Yeah.
While I was there, while I was hovering at that edge. And also applying my historian mind to the subject of the meaning of life.
Yeah.
I said, okay, if I'm going to die, why was I born in the first place? I'd been atheist since I was 12. I'd given up on religion big time.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because in the 1970s, I think science education was really coming in at school. The materialist kind of viewpoint was competing with the religious viewpoint, and we were all merrily going down the materialist view.
Yeah.
I think that's still happening.
Yeah, I would agree that
a lot.
atheist religion is still a very divide.
At 30, I woke up to the idea that we've actually had the wool pulled over our eyes about this subject. It's such a confusing subject, the battle between religions, the battle between belief and disbelief, that actually I, at 12, just gave up on the whole subject. Yeah. And it was only at 30, when I was facing the fact that I could be dead within a couple of years, that I wanted answers.
Yeah, I support that.
I studied. I had a historian education,
so
I applied it to the world's to humanity's search for answers. I studied all the world's religions, all the world's great wisdom traditions, magical teachings, modern teachers of consciousness, philosophy.
Wow.
I dived in.
And
I realized this is you can study this, but then you have to make yourself the experiment.
Yeah.
This is actually, I made myself the experiment of changing my consciousness, of
Yeah.
growing and evolving my consciousness. I woke up to the idea that that evolution on the planet has reached the state of the mind.
Yeah.
And we as humans have a responsibility
Yeah, of course.
to forward that evolution by becoming more open-minded, more tolerant, more accepting, more in tune with each other, more understanding of each other, more compassionate. This is how we will evolve as a species.
Yeah, I agree.
Through the heart and mind, yeah?
So this is, with your awakening and like how you navigated life, I would assume that this is how you met your radical fairy.
So somehow I didn't fit anymore in the gay scene. Somehow though, I discovered another level, not only to life itself, but another level to myself,
Yeah.
to queerness.
Yeah.
I discovered the historical association of homoeroticism,
Okay.
gender fluidity,
Yeah.
and the sacred.
Wow. Okay. So
Hey.
so how would you unpack that for people that don't understand or don't know?
I'd love to. Throughout history, there has been a deep association between transgendered people,
Yeah.
between same-sex loving people, and spiritual service.
Right. Okay.
Why are religions so hung up about us? That was my big question. Why?
Yeah.
And then as I studied traditions around the world, I realized this was not the case
Yeah.
universally. In fact, in most of the world's traditional faiths and paths, the people who stood between the genders, the people who embraced both male and feminine energy within themselves, were seen as having particular spiritual gifts.
Right. So people that basically are like our human brain, we can't comprehend those things ever existing, but they existed.
There's always been third gender people. There's
Okay.
always been people who stood between the gender lines, and there's always been people who are same-sex oriented. To make the taboos that have come in about this is one strand of human history.
Yeah.
It began amongst particular cults, the Hebrew people in ancient Middle East there, who were trying to separate themselves from all the pagans around them. All the pagan goddess worshipping people around them, as had been the case for thousands of years, had a lot of sex.
Yeah. That's true. And a lot of
they celebrated sex as the thing that connects us to life itself.
Yeah.
Connects us to the spirit of life itself. It's our sexual
Yeah.
energy. So you would go to the temples sometimes to have sex.
Wow.
And often it would be a trans or a gay person that you would have sex with, because they had that particular skill to channel the goddess to you.
Right. So it's a lot deeper than just, I'm just going to have sex today.
Oh, no, it's about honouring sex as a healing tool, as a tool of
Yeah.
connection, taking it from the lower chakras up through the heart, up into the higher chakras, and into the sexual energy can connect us to the gods, literally. So paganism, that's what paganism did. It celebrated that sexual power. The sexual power is the spirit in us.
So
by raising that sexual power, we connect ourselves more into the spirit. So as radical fairies, this is part of what we're reclaiming.
Right. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. So you guys are reclaiming what was basically eradicated, and you're bringing it back.
Yes. Now, eradicated in Europe, starting from around 500 AD, it took them 1,000 years really to wipe this knowledge out of Europe. And then the Europeans started exploring the rest of the world, Americas, Africa, Asia, and they found the same thing going on. They found, they called them hermaphrodites. They found in-between people. They found men dressed as women being male. They found those who were utterly in between everywhere they went. And these people were usually performing religious roles.
Right. Okay.
Religious roles. And there is so much historical records from the 16th century through to the 19th century and early 20th century about queer people playing these roles in traditional societies around the world.
That's crazy, because like in school or just in books, they never talk about that side of things. So you would never think a queer person was a religious person or a religious leader.
And yet, look at there's always scandals about gay men, about in the church, and the stuff with the Anglican Church at the moment and gay marriage. Queer people have always been drawn to spiritual service. It's in our nature. For some of us. To be caring, to serve the community. You could kind of see that's why nature made us. Because the pressure of men and women have a lot to do with their conventional roles and the family roles. The people in between, the people who are not drawn to reproduce, are here to perform community roles.
And that's something that don't get talked about a lot,
because the community together, here to bring the community together, here to mediate between men and women because we can see both sides. But also here to mediate between the human nature and the spirit.
So how would you, like at these events, at your Radical Fairy group events, how do you connect with the spirit? Like, as you were saying, you go in a circle. Like, how does that work? Like, what are you thinking about?
I'd like to mention that in particular, I run a drum circle.
Right.
We meet once a month in Vauxhall in London to do a full moon drumming, dancing ceremony.
Okay.
So this is one of the ways we connect. It's about creating a space where we honour the elements. And honour the elements that we are the elements.
Okay.
The elements in us. We are earth, body. We are air, mind.
We are
water, feeling. And we are fire, spirit.
Okay.
We all have these 4 parts in us. So a ceremony creates a space in which all those 4 parts can express. And when we're drumming, I like to remind people this is an easy space to get out of your head. To remember to just literally let your spirit take you through the drumming, through the dancing, move your body, put your feelings into it. It gives people a chance to switch off the normal thought stuff. Modern society keeps us very externally focused and very in the head focused.
Very.
So any practices like this, whether it's an ecstatic moving practice like drumming or a stillness practice, maybe meditating or being in nature, walking in nature, these kind of stillness practices can all give us a reset, a chance for the mental body to reset and be more receptive, and for us to remember that we are part of a whole. While we're in the mind, or we're stuck in the mind, we can't really experience being part of a whole. But the idea that the mind is here to give us individuality. It's to our feeling bodies that we experience our connection to each other.
Okay, so how would I, if I was to come and do the event, what would be the first thing you would tell me to do? Like, do I need to take off my shoes? Do I need to take off something, or do I just how does a person that's not in that space, how would you tell them to relax and just let your spirit
first, very much so that very much this is a free form space. It's for you to feel at home in and do what makes you feel good. So kick off your shoes if that feels good for you. I would encourage people just to literally just sit and experience what's going on. The power of a group of people creating this energy together. And then I would encourage them just to start drumming, just to take a drum, even if you've never done it before. We all have a heartbeat, so everybody has inbuilt natural rhythm. It's wrong to say so people say they can't drum, that's wrong. We all have rhythm. And also drumming is such a fundamental human practice that is now lost to our society.
Of course,
Think about it, throughout eons, thousands and thousands of years, people have sat around together and made music. These days we don't really make music, we listen.
Very much.
Coming back together and making rhythm together, perhaps because it's such an unusual experience, can have a very liberating effect, a very revelatory effect. Something else that we've lost in the modern world that's key in human history is being together in circles around fires.
That is very olden day in times.
Global thing, that's what you do at night time. You come around the fire, you keep warm, but you also tell stories, you sing together, you make music together, and through the fire you keep the memories of the ancestors alive and the folk tales alive and your connection to nature alive. This is no longer part of normal
society. Because I guess it's like, what would bring me to do that. Like, why would I leave my house where I've got heat already to come outside? Like, I guess that's probably what people would be thinking.
We are so individuated, yes,
Yeah.
in the modern world, and we're used to being with ourselves. Well, it's the power of connection, the power of community,
Yeah.
circle. People could get, going out to raves, pubs. They have their qualities, they have their effects, but I'm tired of being in spaces where people are just going just to be intoxicated.
I agree.
Their minds. But I still want to have fun. I still want to have parties. I still
Yeah.
need to go. So I want to be in spaces where people are partying with a purpose.
Yeah.
We're coming together to become more conscious, not to become less conscious.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
We're coming together to support each other and recognize each other on this bizarre journey that we're all on.
So, with obviously the pros of this is bringing community and bringing people together, and even people just exploring and knowing that this is a culture, this is a thing. What would you say have been like the negatives, or like not negatives, but I guess like the harder bits, like keeping it alive, keeping it going through the years? Obviously, COVID happened. Did people think it was going to happen then? Like,
COVID,
for
if
you
anything, has
personally,
strengthened us as a community.
Okay.
During the COVID pandemic, the Radical Fairies became more conscious of our global nature, I would say, because everything went onto Zoom.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're having talent shows on Zoom every Saturday night.
That is nice.
For nearly 2 years. People from all over the world performing.
Oh,
for
no,
each other
that's really
on Zoom and
nice.
watching. We had whole entire gatherings via Zoom where you could join in from your home.
Yeah.
So through that, we got to communicate maybe with more fairies than we would normally. In that we got to know people in other parts of the world. So we weren't meeting in person for a couple of years, but then when we did meet, it was like some of the clutter had been cleared, and there was a much more of a clear focus to why we meet.
Yeah.
And it felt like we're a co-creative project, and it felt like suddenly a lot more people felt empowered to stand up and create. Fairies is it's not a fixed thing. It has no fixed dogma, it has no book, it has no rules, it has no leaders.
Yeah.
We are anarchists with heart.
I like that. Anarchists with heart.
I define fairiness as compassionate anarchy, and that you can do what you like, but you take into account your effect on other people.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you'll be pulled up on it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I like that. I like how it's like, it still spreads peace, it still spreads love, just in a non-hateful way.
And
especially with
nobody
everything
telling
going
each
on.
other what to do.
To do, yeah.
We try to create a consensus around how we behave together.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are decisions to be made, we try and make those through consensus. So the founder of the fairies, or one of the founders, an American called Harry Hay.
Yeah, I saw,
had the concept of subject consciousness.
Well, what is that?
Okay, so in human society at the moment, we tend to objectify each other. Like, oh, you look hot.
Yeah.
What can I get from you? Or what can you do for me? We treat each other like objects.
Yeah.
Subject consciousness, Harry suggested, is the natural queer or gay men's view on the world, and I suggest it's the ultimate human view on each other.
Yeah.
Which is that you are another me.
Okay.
I'm a me, you're a me.
Yeah.
We're all manifestations of the thing called me.
Oh, that's cool.
Because you are a me, I want to give you the absolute respect.
Yeah.
And appreciation that I would like for myself.
Right. Oh, that is cool. I never thought of it like that.
So we have been led down a garden path into thinking we are individuated
Yeah.
bits of physical matter who can accidentally learn to think.
But really,
We're
all each other.
We are all each other. We are the self of the universe.
Right.
Manifesting.
So as a fairy yourself, how does that translate into your everyday life? Because I'm sure like in your everyday life, you're not gonna be how you are.
I am.
Or are you?
Unfortunately, I'm a full-time fairy. I live at the Shakti Chateau.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
It's a council flat in Stockwell.
Not bad. Hey,
Very
it's
happy with
something.
that. I've been
Yeah.
there 27 years, and my flat is a little haven and den of fairy creativity. where we sort of plan our gatherings and actions and activities and come together, meet each other and so forth. And there are various fairy houses around the world, in London and around the world. So yeah, I'm fortunate that because of my HIV journey with HIV and AIDS,
Yeah.
I was so sick there that I was medically retired
Yeah.
in my 30s. I've never been well enough to go back into any conventional
Yeah.
kind of work situation. So I have used my privileged position of being supported by the state with
Yeah.
disability benefits to work on this project.
Yeah.
To develop my creativity, but do it for the community. I'm also an astrologer, and on that level, I'm an Aquarian, so my nature is to serve the greater good, to serve the whole.
Yeah.
That's my inclination. So that's been my mission, if you like, for the last 20 years, to
That is so
create
nice.
queer spaces where everybody's welcome and we come together to open our hearts, to connect our bodies
Yeah.
with our spirits, with our souls, with our spirits, to feel ourselves as part of nature, to feel ourselves as part of each other. There's a name for that state of being when you reach that state of being, and subject consciousness is a way of getting there.
Okay.
The name is cosmic consciousness.
Wow.
100 years ago, well, 110, 20 years ago, before the First World War, it was what everybody was talking about. It was the buzz. Cosmic consciousness is the next level of human evolution.
Yeah.
Where we stop seeing ourselves as individuated, separate beings at war with each other and start experiencing and knowing ourselves as one great big loving presence on the world that is emerging through us.
I like this.
Into its greater evolution. And while the world seems so dark and so frightening,
Yeah.
it's all the forces of division, of conflict, of hate.
Yeah.
They're at full rage, possibly because their time is up.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because there are people like us in the world who see it differently, and we are not alone. We are all around this world, and we are the rainbow people. It's just that we're not the ones with the guns.
Yeah.
We're the ones with the
Hearts.
hearts.
Yeah.
And ultimately, love is the most powerful force in the universe. Ultimately, love must prevail.
Yeah, like love at the end of the day always does win, and it outshines violence and outshines like dictators, as we've seen through the years. So I would love to know, like, I've seen your shirt, it's bright yellow. I've literally been looking at it for ages now. What does it mean? What does it represent? Even like to the symbol of the bird, like just tell us about that.
I want to tell you first about how within 10 years of Albion Fairy gatherings in the UK, we had such a momentum going. We were like, how can we bring this to more people?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
How can we, because a gathering can only hold like 60 to 100 people maximum. How can we bring this to more people? So we created Queer Spirit Festival.
Okay.
We've done 3 so far, with the 4th one coming up this summer. We had 500 people at the 2019
that's
festival.
good.
And at that festival, I get to stand up and speak to the whole festival and get them all shouting at once, "We're here, we're queer, we're cosmic."
I love that. I absolutely love that.
The association of queerness with magic it's absolutely ancient and fundamental, but the modern LGBT movement has not grasped this yet.
Okay.
For very good reasons. You know, the religious world obviously was used as justification to keep us down. So spirituality is kind of the last thing really that modern queerness has wanted to explore. You know, it was the secular society that gave us our rights, human rights,
Yeah.
and moved the story on. But the religious homophobia in the world is still it's actually getting worse.
Yeah, I would.
Worse in America. It's getting worse in Africa. The news coming out of Uganda is so frightening. The fury going on against trans people in America at the moment is so
Yeah, it's really
disturbing. So this will not end, I do not think, until we, queers ourselves, identify and uproot the causes of this homophobia. Where did it come from? Why is it so virulent?
Yeah,
What is
I agree.
it all about? So that's my study. That's what I study, and that's what I wish to promote through the work that I do, is that it's actually the whole suppression of gender fluidity and same-sex loving relationships has been about suppressing the spiritual power of the feminine.
Okay.
Spiritual power of women.
Yeah,
This
I
is
would say.
fundamental. Queerness and women's power in the world they belong together. And they are spiritual powers. They are powers of community, they're
Yeah,
powers of love, they're powers of transformation. And they are the powers that the patriarchy has been suppressing for
I
2,000
agree.
years.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Basically, men suck.
Well, some men suck more than others.
So your queer name, if you like
Shakti.
to Shakti, why did you pick that and what does it mean?
That's actually a reference to the Shakti from Hinduism. The Shakti, Shiva Shakti in Hinduism. If Shiva is the transcendent masculine god, then Shakti is the immanent, present in nature, present in creation,
Yeah.
present, feminine presence of the divine.
Oh, and so you related
I
to that
related
and
to
you
that.
just said,
I was actually given the name while in India because I met a group of people, spiritual adventurers who were shocked by my Shakti.
oh,
So here they had a gay man who'd embraced his inner feminine.
yeah,
Not only embraced that there's an inner feminine, but realized that the inner feminine inside me is the goddess.
yeah,
It's the goddess in us all. We all have the goddess inside us. And I would like gay men to be out there celebrating their inner
definitely,
feminine.
yeah,
Absolutely standing side by side with trans people and say, yes, we are all third gendered. We are all in between people.
yeah,
This polarity of the extreme masculine, extreme feminine. They're just that. They're just polarities.
yeah, literally.
It's always been in between people. I would like to emphasize our history. I'd like queer people to know this true history.
I agree.
And just how prevalent we've been around the world in spiritual roles.
So, knowing all this, how would you? Is it so? It's predominantly in the UK right now, but
No.
do you go everywhere? Is
Okay,
it a
Radical
global?
Fairies is global.
Okay,
Queer Spirit Festival is in the UK.
right, yeah, okay,
So we have created this in the UK. We hope to have about 600 people coming to a fabulous location called Bridwell Park. That's in Devon, August
Ooh,
17
nice.
to 21 this summer.
guys, come along.
Queerspirit.net is all the details. There's a range of ticket prices. We are completely happy for people to buy concession tickets if they can't afford a full price ticket. We do not ask for any proof. We want
Yeah, we want
rather
you guys
people
to
be there.
come.
We also need volunteers. We still need lots more volunteers working in the cafe and on-site crew, that kind of
So
thing.
guys, come along. Like if you've got nothing to do or you want to explore your queerness more and you want to be around people, then come.
And there will be dancing there. We've got, I think, a dozen DJs lined up. We've got bands, we've got folk singers, we've got quite a range of performers. We've got, I think, 30 to 40 workshop facilitators
I like this.
coming into a whole. It's a consciousness expanding festival. You're there for 5 days,
Yeah.
4 nights. You get to party, you get to play, you get to meet hundreds of other fabulous, open-minded, big-hearted, magical queers, and you get to go and have these fantastic new experiences in the workshops.
I really like this. So guys, like if you're looking for something to do in the summer and you didn't get your wireless tickets, get these instead. Like you're going to be with some fantastic people.
And if you fancy finding us in London, get on the mailing list at queerspirit.net or from albionfairies.org.uk, and you will hear about the monthly drum circle that happens in Vauxhall, plus you'll hear about all the other fairy gatherings and events that go on.
See, guys, so there's so much happening this summer. So please don't come out here and say that there's nothing happening this summer, because there is. So on that note, like one last thing, what would you give advice to the new generation and people that aren't sure of their sexuality? They're not sure where they fit in this world. What would you advise them to do?
Okay. My advice would be to balance the scientific mind view with a bit of spiritual study, frankly. We're more than binary beings. We're more than physical beings. Our nature as gendered beings and as sexual beings has spiritual purpose to it. spiritual qualities to it. The spiritual search. It's time for the spiritual search. It's time to coming out itself.
Yeah.
Is the spirit. It's a spiritual act. Questioning one's gender identity or questioning one's sexuality. That is the start of a spiritual search of who am I. So don't stop there. I think that would be my advice.
Yeah,
Don't
I
stop
agree.
there. You're also you're also a being of nature. You're also an animal. You've got all these animal spirits that exist inside you. You're also one of the stars. You've got angel beings that exist inside you. You've got starlight inside you. There's so much to our consciousness.
Yeah.
21st century is about making the shift from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Now then, the age of Aquarius is going to be the queerest age humanity's ever known.
Ooh.
Because it's the age of equality and open-mindedness. And the mythology of Aquarius, do you know the mythology of Aquarius?
I really don't, because I'm a Cancer, so I only focus on what.
That's one, Cancer, lovely sign. The mythology of Aquarius is the king of the gods, Zeus.
Yeah.
Falling in love with the most beautiful boy on the world, Ganymede. Zeus transforms himself into an eagle, swoops down, takes up Ganymede to heaven to be his personal boy, his cupbearer in the heavens.
Yeah.
This goes on for a time until the goddess Hera gets so annoyed with this pretty boy in Jupiter's bed all the time.
Yeah.
And she kicks him out. Says he's got to go. So Jupiter puts him in the heavens forever as Aquarius.
Oh.
So unlike Jesus, Ganymede didn't die and resurrect. He just ascended into the heavens.
Okay.
And that is possibly our model for the 21st century and for the age of Aquarius. If Jesus was the model for the age of Pisces, death and suffering to achieve transcendence, and I think we probably all experience that in our lives. Hopefully the 21st century we make that shift into that we do not have to suffer to evolve. We likely will, because that's planet Earth, but we can actually evolve consciously. We can choose to become connected to the higher consciousness.
Yeah.
In these days of, there's a psychedelic revolution happening in the planet. My early 20s experiences with psychedelics showed me there was a bigger picture going on than I was aware of. So when I got ill and chose to start my spiritual search, I had that at the back of my mind. Like, well, when I was on LSD, it all seemed to make sense then.
That's why they make it so hard to get. They're like, nope.
Absolutely.
We don't want people to know the truth.
Absolutely. So we have all the tools as a species to make a really rapid evolution to a greater understanding of who we are and how we treat each other. So for young people today, I'd say, don't get lost in the hype. Don't get bought off by the way the world has been and the way
you just be who you are.
Find your true self.
You don't need to conform to the standards. You're not alone.
I want to say as well, we're all, what I discovered in the 90s was my inner feminine. I was born in a male body, but I was never a classic, male. When I found and embraced my inner feminine, it's like, of course we're all male and female on the inside. And throughout history, there's always been people who embodied that on the outside. Yeah. So I think today, some people rush into thinking they need to change their gender identity or need to change their physical body, which are things they can choose to do. But the inner search is equally important. Yeah. So every single person has an inner female and an inner male.
I agree. I really do agree. And I feel like if you are struggling with that, like, take your time, sit down and ask yourself like really deep questions before you rush into anything.
If there's part of you inside you that if you're feeling that part wants to express, you can express it.
Yeah.
Find ways to express it.
And come to this events that are happening, and speak to someone here that will understand you and genuinely wants the best for you. So that was the gift of the gab. Thank you guys for listening.
Hey, thank you for listening.
Please,
thank you for inviting me, Precious.
Thank you, Mark, for coming along. And please, guys, check out the event. I think it's going to be really good and it's going to be a really eye-opener for everyone. So please get your tickets. And if you do plan on going, please comment down below and let us know your thoughts and your feelings. And see you in the next episode. Bye.
We're here. We're queer. We're cosmic.
Woo!